something great, something huge than this simple question I'm going to ask. Um, there's island. Okay. All right, so just a quick one. There's island, there's water. What do they have in common? Did I say island and water? Oh, yes, I think I said that. Okay, maybe we should do something simpler. Quickly. Ushers, please help us get everyone in. Itizama, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for your bag so we can have the lucky dip quickly. And just to let you know that we have a panel session. We have a panel session which will be on unlocking economic benefits of critical minerals, and that's about it for this session. So we'll be going to be as quick as possible. I think he knows what an island and the letter T have in common. All right, do we have the microphone to him? All right, so island and letter T, what do they have in common? Sorry? S. Okay, can I hear your own response? Island stands alone, T stands alone. Fantastic. They're both in the middle of water. That's it. Please, a round of applause for him. Great. Okay, so I'll do one more. Which two keys cannot open any door? Two keys that cannot open any door. They are keys, but it can't open any door. So yeah, so we're about to move on quickly. Two keys that cannot open any doors. All right? Sorry? A donkey and a monkey. Beautiful. Please, a round of applause. Nice. Thank you so much. All right, so we're about to get started with this session. And Itizama has something fantastic, a beautiful gift for us. You're not going to answer any question to get it. You don't have to play any game. You don't have to do anything. Just sit down. A piece of paper, you'll be asked to pick a piece of paper from a bag. So we're going to do a lucky dip, whatever you find in it. So if you find a car, if you find anything. I mean, what are the things we would like? Money, for the ladies, human hair, lipstick.
In coal stoves and coal briquettes. We want to quickly do a quick dip for lucky winners here, just to encourage our participants. So we have a prize of stoves and briquettes to give to any lucky winner. Our coal briquettes are the alternative for the government program in curbing
All right. All right, thank you very much, Itazama. The bag will continue to go around. You pick whatever it is that you get from the bag. So we'll get into the panel session now. After the panel session, we'll have time to reveal whatever it is that we have picked from the bag. So please, I'd like you to join me as we make welcome the moderator for this panel session, which is a strategic exploration, unlocking economic benefits of critical minerals and green technology. And it will be moderated by Habib Jayola. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes forward. And just to let you know that we're going to have an investment showcase session. I would like those who will be taking part in that session to get ready. Because of time, we need to run through both sessions as fast as possible, and that will bring us to the close of this event. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you very much. So we're really grateful for you waiting for the last part of the event. So we go straight into this particular session, which is strategic exploration, unlocking economic benefit of critical minerals and green technology. That will be the topic we'll be dissecting this afternoon. And to join me for that, I would call on my panelists. And first on the list is Mohamed Seri, the Special Envoy for Trade and Investment, Office of the President, Sierra Leone. Mr. Seri, a round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right, great. So I have my panelists. Okay, is Tim around? Tim, okay. Thank you. A round of applause for Tim Tokun. Okay, great. So I have my setup, and we'll try and go through this session as quickly as we can. We have quite other things to cover before we close today. So the essence of this particular panel is for us to dissect the critical minerals. We've been discussing all day about how minerals, mining, and the value chain can be able to supply what we call green energy, the technology that we're seeing, and how can Africa take advantage of this. So that would be what we'll be discussing today. First of all, it's important we try to understand the role of critical minerals. I will start first by asking Mr. Tim to please give us, from your perspective, what are you seeing as the global demand for critical minerals, green technology? What, in your view, is happening globally, and how is this landscape changing?
Thank you very much. We're on the cusp of fourth industrial revolution, as far as I'm concerned. And this is largely powered by metals. Thank God. Hydrocarbons are about to make a comeuppance. So this is fueled by, the key elements, because to make cathode and anode, you need 7 separate elements. You need lithium, you need graphite, you need manganese, cobalt, copper, alumina, iron in some cases. And the trend globally for me, would not abate anytime soon, because you can see, in between now and 2040, there's going to be a $12 trillion critical metals economy. Africa alone will account for $2 trillion of that. In that same time span, you're going to see fossil fuels account $650 billion, which means the critical metals economy is going to be bigger than fossil fuels. That on its own tells a big story. But we want to drill down further and see that there's even a new player in this critical energy space, and that is government. For the very first time, governments have become actual equity providers to projects. If you remember 2022, August, the US Congress signed a bill to accelerate, to tackle climate change, therefore accelerating the whole net zero carbon economy story. And that bill came with a $370 billion fund attached to it. And this money is going to all renewable projects, ancillary and direct. It shows you this is going to be something very, very massive. And that's the Americans. It hasn't stopped with them. The Saudis are in the same business. PIF is a $2 trillion fund, and it's backing mining projects globally. This year alone, they've probably spent about $9 billion around the world on critical metal projects. The Japanese are doing the same via JOGMEC. The Koreans are doing the same via Comer. So for the first time in the history of this business, you find governments actually now being big investors, equity investors in projects. The Americans recently funded 2 projects in their own country belonging to Australian companies to the tune of $2 billion already. So the global trend is going to be phenomenal. I don't even see how it can be, the demand can be met, because you see the cathode manufacturers of Samsung and POSCO and BYD and all these sort of big companies they've gone ahead, Tesla, for example, they've gone ahead to build very large facilities to make battery. Right now, total capacity out there would be something around 7-8 terawatt hour. Meanwhile, the raw materials that need to feed those plants are not coming on stream quickly enough, because mining has a longer gestation curve than as you would have with oil.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic that we continue to see. But indeed, the trend is super strong. For everybody in this space, it is indeed a good time.
Sounds good. So it looks like we're looking at a possible boom in this side of investment, where we see critical minerals driving the narrative, driving investment across the world. Now we are in a very critical situation here in Africa, whereby we have the resources and we see the global demand. Now, I will take this question to Onyinye. As a sustainability expert, someone in that space, there's this narrative around some sort of conflict between mining and its antecedent impact on the environment, and then the need for it to then also be one of the key inputs into global demand for green energy. How do we, solve this this conflict, if I would put it that way?
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for staying till now. So, from a personal point of view, I don't see it as a conflict. I think, in a manner of speaking, it's a bit secular, right? Because the critical minerals that we are mining today, and like he alluded to, that will power the industrialization of whether EVs, renewable energy systems, right, is what we need to power those systems, right? But we then need electricity and energy for mining. So it's secular in that
instance. Mining degrades, mining pollutes, mining same things we are trying to fight against with the sustainability narrative.
Yes. So we then have to look at it from a holistic, perspective.
Yes.
The mines of the past, right? Show evidence of pollution and all of that. But maybe we can say we didn't know better because we didn't have we didn't have hindsight, right? But now that we're seeing that growth and we realize that we need to mine, it's about how we then structure operations, right? To make sure that we have the clean energy. to improve our minds. And we're seeing, advancements in technology that can do that. We're having conversations around energy efficiency. Are there ways that for maintaining the same output, right, you can reduce your input? So if you needed, for example, 10 kilowatt to do something, can you do it for 8 kilowatt? Can you do it without emitting into the environment? Can we do it with solar systems? Can we do it with wind systems so that the emission into the environment is significantly reduced? And we're seeing those advancements. We're seeing, and we're also seeing those being implemented. There are mines now that, have made commitments and are reducing their carbon footprint into the environment. So from a sustainability perspective, I think the conversation is moving in the right direction. There are definitely bad impacts to the environment, to the water, to the air quality, but much more as we advance the mining conversation. The mines have to now be built with those sustainability concepts in mind to make sure that enough infrastructure is put in place, that water is not polluted, to make sure that the air quality is maintained at an acceptable level, and then to continue to integrate clean energy technologies. And like I said, it's not just renewables. We can just do energy efficiency systems to make sure that we reduce the energy cost and the input from fossil fuel systems.
Great. Thank you so much for that response. I think you've been able to key a lot of elements in there, because for us to achieve this, then all of the monitoring around what goes on in the mines has to really be spot on. Responsible mining and several other things that as attention comes into Africa for mining, then obviously we have to be able to key into those matters. Very good response. So if we then look at this conversation and how it's building, then we ask ourselves, there's a global demand for green metals, for critical minerals as we call them, but we know in the past we've had this issue around we are exporting, there's no economic value staying in Africa. I mean, if you check Nigeria as an example, that has always been the narrative. So how do we then ensure that right now we don't make those mistakes of the past and we keep value in country within Africa while we are harnessing the potentials of these green minerals? I would ask that question to Mr. Seri, actually. I think I would like you to give us your perspective from what you've seen and how you think we need to be able to keep value in country, in Africa, while exploiting this green boom that is happening globally.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. It's a very important moment in this particular journey that we've embarked on. I think it's critical for us to understand why we need to localize the value chain, because with all mining, there is a saying that 80% of it is logistics, meaning you have to do things, you have to move things, you have to buy things, and you have to put things together. If we localize the value chain, then we are not only helping to create jobs, but we're also helping to facilitate innovation. And I mentioned the issue of ownership during the ministerial roundtable. Why it is critical, if you look at the global supply now for all these minerals, they are not held by people who own the mines. China don't own mines, but they control the large chunk of cobalt. Why? They have the rights to these mines. So what China will do is they determine when and how to sell and who they want to sell to. So if we on the continent decide now to localize our minerals, which is what the African Minerals Group is doing, then if, for instance, I had Robert Friedland, the CEO of Ivanhoe, he said he was sitting one time, the head of Nissan called him. He said, I need about 30 terabytes of batteries. Now they talk directly to them. So imagine if Nigeria today owned that lithium capacity and copper capacity, the CEO of Nissan will call the Nigerians for them to do business. So when you localize the value chain, It's also good for your economic growth, but also for national security purposes. No one will take these minerals and keep them and tell you when they want to sell them to you. So, and I also believe for local content purposes, I've seen situations where mining companies have licenses, but at the end of the day, most of their logistical work, the contracts are being awarded abroad, not giving it to the local countries where these licenses have been given.
So local content, enforcement of local content.
Enforcement of local content, and to make it a priority. I think also, if you look at what other countries are doing, it's simple. The United States of America recently have what they call DAPA. They created this to help them have a sustainable supply of their own minerals. Canada recently, they released their own strategy of 31 critical minerals, focusing on 6 of those minerals, putting a budget of $520 billion to help their local entrepreneurs to tap into it. The same thing is happening in China. The same thing is happening all over the world. In countries like Argentina, Chile, which are major suppliers, they've almost nationalized the ownership of some of these minerals. Indonesia, they're not exporting anymore. They are making sure they add value before they give out this right. So I think we have to be wise up enough to understand that we cannot be giving our wealth to people and we cry again. You know, this wealth belongs to us. Let's find a way wherein we can benefit.
So you think, because the Nigerian government is driving that narrative now to say without value addition, no export, you think that's the right approach to it?
It's more than right. And even what I heard yesterday by the Honorable Minister, wherein they have the Solid Mineral Development Fund, I think that's the right step, because for several reasons, most of us, when you go for mining licenses, your own government will tell you you don't have money, you don't have capacity. Yeah. But here now the government is saying, okay, listen, we can give you some of this startup cost for you guys to dig some of this thing. And it goes further today. Somebody was talking about de-risking. Why it's important for the minister to understand is he can also help them by doing further studies, further geological studies, and implementing artificial intelligence. When you have AI mixed into all this large data that you have, you can exactly predict where you have this mineral and what are the mineral content. So you've actually de-risked the investors that are coming. They know now if I come to Ogun State, for instance, I know exactly what is there, I know the quality, I know the quantity. So I think we'll encourage the government. They have the capacity, they have the money to do further studies by employing other technologies like AI so that they can have predictable data, so they can help the entrepreneurs in Nigeria and elsewhere in other countries to direct some of this investment.
Thank you so much. Wonderful response. It's quite important that we try to make sure we sort of harness those learning points that we've had over time, and I think many of those matters which you've just enumerated really came out from this event, which is quite good. So now, if we really look at it from the actual mines themselves, and you know, Mr. Arun, I'm coming to your end around the experiences on the mining site itself, because when we speak to ESG, you know, we usually leave the governance side. We could talk about the environment side. The social element of it as well may not really be really spoken to. But the reality of what is happening on the mining site today, do you think that we are moving towards that ESG element, or are you really worried about the fact that more needs to be done to get mining sites to really have proper environment, social, and governance you know, framework to guide them?
Thank you so much, Mr. Habib. The thing is that actually the government are doing its best to see that they've encouraged more private sectors to join the ship for these lithium occurrences and the production. There's you know, here in Nigeria, regarding adding value to the local content. The thing is this, I have, there was a time I was having a discussion with a friend when he works in Texas. He's a geochemist. So I was telling him, we have lithium that is giving up to 3%. He said no, he doesn't believe it. Why?
As to the grade?
The grade. Because he's working with one one American company. They are into leaching. What he was telling me that they are leaching 0.6%. They have a very big leaching plant in Texas. So when I told him that we have a lithium that worth 3%, he couldn't believe it. He said it's a lie. So I said, I told him that, okay, there's no problem. We organized, I got the samples from different lithium locations, like 10 samples. I sent it via DHL to him. So when I sent it to him, after analysis, then he got, the first result he got was 3%. He said, wow. He was so surprised. Then he immediately talked to his boss. Then his boss picked interest. Then he said that there's a need for them to come and invest here. So
the analysis he did, you had to send the samples to him for him to do his analysis.
I sent the sample.
He couldn't rely on any information you were sending to him outside of the sample.
When I told him that we have up to 3%, he couldn't believe it.
He didn't believe it.
So when I sent him the samples from 10 different sites, then after the analysis, then it came out. The first sample was 3%. Then the subsequent ones, 4, 3.52.
So hence, that means we still need more support within the mining value chain.
Exactly.
Outside of just the mines. We need the labs, we need the lapidaries, we need all of them to be well developed. Or else people will not believe us.
Not believe, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is another area which you've now opened up, because as much as we keep speaking to value addition, and we forget those other industries. I know there's a lot of conversation ongoing around this area, but that looks like area of investment for private sector as well.
Exactly.
Not necessarily playing in the mines themselves, but also in the key value chain. So I think let me hear from Mr. Tim around this particular matter, because from your experience, when you look at that core value chain and matters that come through from them, and still sticking to this green energy effort, the fact that there's going to be a high demand from the global community on the quality of what is coming, especially on the output of the data. How are they able to trust our labs, those we have locally? What do we need to do to get the global community to trust information coming from Africa?
Well, labs have to be accredited in the first place.
Okay.
So it's not just any lab. In Nigeria, we have just one accredited lab for now, which is here in Abuja, MSA. But they don't even have the capacity required. They can only prep your samples. Things like lithium, nickel, graphite, they need very specialist testing systems. The capacity for that here doesn't exist for now. Ghana, a very advanced mining jurisdiction nearby, as you know, even they, with Intertech and ALS, they don't even do the entire value chain of that testing. So the lithium borate fusion test, Aqua Regia, no. They prep it, and it goes off to Perth or Vancouver.
Yeah.
You know, so these capabilities have to be built locally, because we erode value by what we do. I remember clearly in 2022, pretty much the whole year when lithium was trading at $7,000 per ton concentrate. Chinese companies were here buying the rocks from locals at about 100,000 naira per ton. So it's a giveaway. So beneficiation is the core value creation in this business.
Yeah.
If you're shipping out, not unless it's like gold, that's fine. You can, gold in the dust form, in the dory form, not a problem. You don't have to get to bullion grade. But for these base metals, tin, lithium, etc., if you're shipping out raw ore, you might as well just let them have it for no payment.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is paying you 100,000 naira and retailing for $7,000, and don't forget, that's the first layer of beneficiation to concentrate. There's a second layer that takes you about $30,000. And the final layer to hydroxide, $80,000. So we haven't even gotten started in that sense out here. So the void is massive. It's
Absolutely.
going to fill someone.
So I think yesterday or day before yesterday there was this public hearing of the Nigerian Institute of Geology in Jos. I was listening to it that they wanted to repeal the act to make it a tertiary institution. I'm sure this is not new to the House. So we trying to have actual mining institution of higher learning, whereby we can bring out people with qualification to be able to harness that, in-house. If we key that into the need for having local industries that feed from the mining, so people then ask us, how are we able to get batteries from lithium, for instance, and other metals? So maybe Onyinye, you could help me with that. In terms of that linking, we've keyed in key knowledge base that needs to exist, the industry locally, whereby we can make, if you take example of batteries, for instance, while then keying it from the mines. So how are we able to harness that particular equation, especially from having local industries that feed from the mines while we're pushing this green energy narrative?
Thanks a lot. So I think, developing our local capacity is very crucial. You just mentioned it. I know that for example, there's a new solar power plant somewhere in Lagos of Oxano. I don't know if they've started producing into, in commercial quantities. We need government intervention to help strengthen those kind of institutions in their early ages. Since we have the raw material here, I think he just gave a perfect analogy. We can begin to add value. The physical human capacity is here. It's about upskilling people, right, to make sure that there's enough value so that we can keep the value locally within this space. And in the mines themselves, we can find other technological advancements, to make sure that we continue to optimize operations, reduce cost for running the operations, and continue to, introduce clean energy systems into the mine operations to make sure that they are running efficiently. Of course, like I said earlier, the mines are one of the intensive energy users. Is there a way we can recover some of those energy? Can we extract the excess heat that goes out of it to use it for other heating processes that we may need? Can we co-locate factories, since we know that this mine is going to produce heat or steam? Can we put a pharmaceutical beside it to make sure that that heat or steam is recovered and used for another process, so that the total cost of energy is lowered? And it's cost, it's a business cost, so it makes for more business efficiency, it makes for more profit, and it makes for full-term optimization. So also looking at it from that total value chain proposition as to how we can continue to optimize business operations with the new technologies that are coming in, and some of these things are quite easy. Even if you look at just the energy systems that are involved in mining, can we find retrofits that we can use to reduce the energy use of those operations? And I think those are crucial in making our mining system sustainable.
So effectively, we can only be successful from an industry standpoint if we can keep costs low, for us to be competitive with matters or items that may need to come in. Because obviously there's no way we support backward integration, supply to industries, if what is being imported effectively becomes cheaper. So I think your point is really valid in that aspect. So I think I'll take last comment from Mr. Seri. You've spoken passionately about how we need to, as Africans, ensure we keep things locally. and ensure that value addition and all. But at the end of the day, we can't do away with foreign investors as well. So how do we just have this handshake while still attracting foreign investors, but ensuring value is kept locally? We can't still do away with them. I don't know if there's any way to keep that balance, so that we don't scare investors away.
Yeah, very important, and I think this is a point we have to understand. Collaboration is necessary. No one is saying we can do it alone.
Absolutely.
It's only that when you go into any partnership, you have to have a position of strength.
Yeah.
So what we are saying is we collaborate, but what we have that gives us a stronger bargaining position, let's don't give it away cheaply.
Sure.
But there is no way we can eliminate the element of collaboration. People collaborate and people work together. Every nation, one way or the other, despite all these supply chain crisis we're having, they sit and collaborate. So we just want to make sure we get to the table with strong bargaining power.
Absolutely.
Rather than we cheaply just give away things.
Absolutely.
That is the position. But also, there is hope here because one of the reasons why China is where they are today, by 2050, they're still going to own the largest majority of refinings in the world for these rare earth minerals is because of power. So just last week, 5 development banks in Africa decided to come together to see how they can support the Grand Inga Dam. The Grand Inga Dam, I don't know if anybody know about it here, but it's in the Congo Basin. It's the 3rd largest river by volume. So what they want to do is an $80 billion investment. If we get that dam going, it will give us about 40 gigawatts of power compared to 20 gigawatts of power that China has, which is fueling the economic growth. So I think there is hope. If Africa group like the Africa Strategy Group, these are the things they can support, wherein we can have our own energy mix on the continent, and we collaborate with our partners, but at the same time, we have what it takes to reduce the amount of refineries that are going across the world.
Thank you so much. It's a very good place to end. So a round of applause for my panelists, please. It's been a very well dissected panel, and thank you so much once again for coming, and we really appreciate your time. Back to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Habib Jayola. Please, a round of applause for them. And they'll take a photograph before they step down. Very, very impactful panel discussion there. Thank you once again, Habib. Always a pleasure to have you handle a panel. Yes, we're about rounding off, and of course, I want to appreciate the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development for remaining with us. We appreciate you, sir. We have just one more session left, and we will be ready to go. This is the investment showcase session, and the first to make presentation is Dr. Lawrence Ajayi, the CEO, Faithful Minerals Mining, and he's going to be talking about exploration of lithium ore and mining in Nigeria. A round of applause for him as he steps forward. Would like Mr. Samuel Onyinye Okoro, the Special Advisor on Solid Minerals, to the Governor of Enugu State to get ready. You're next, after which would have Taraba State Investment Promotion Agency. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will first of all recognize the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and His Excellency, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, all foreign ministers, and all protocol observed. My name is Lawrence Ajayi. I want to talk about lithium today. First of all, Dr. Lawrence Ajayi wrote Zero Carbon Investment and Sustainability, my postdoctorate technical papers. We try to see how we can meet with Paris Club, World Trade Organization, 2040, to reduce carbon emission on Earth. That is why I'm really into lithium. Faithful Mineral Mining is a mining company. We are into lithium exploration and production. We also into environmental impact assessment. We started our exploration a few months ago through one of our partners, Storm Exploration from Phoenix, United States of America. And we have one of our company, LLE Press. They bring in gifts and technical personnel from Calgary, Canada. We are trying to be the champion of lithium exploration and mining in Africa. We have had a lot of stories from China, from Australia, from America. So we started with geological works, some desktop works, and drilling campaign a few months ago. And we converted the artisanal miners to staff because we found out that they could drill up to 5 to 10 meters, in which we got the samples, and we now employed some community geologists who know the areas where these minerals are concentrated before we invited our experts, Storm Exploration, who came to use various equipment to locate where the lithium are concentrated before they started the exploration a few months ago. Introducing lithium in Nigeria, we found out that most of these minerals are concentrated in some part of the country, like the north central Nasarawa, where we have few blocks, we have good spodumene, in which when we tested it in MS Analytical, a Canadian company, laboratory, in their laboratory we found 1.5 to 2.4%. And immediately our exploration company came in on board. We drilled a little bit, we found from 3.4 to 5%. So we are looking at drilling up to 60 to 100 meters, and we have hope that it's going to go up to 7 to 9%. What I want to tell us today is Nigeria and Africa in general could become one of the critical metals champion in the world. This is the map of our blocks where we have in Nasarawa State. You can see 6 blocks, though they are a bit far from one another. But we found that after finding the circumference of most of these blocks, they are there's kind of possibility that we can extract concentrate of spodumene from these blocks, and which could go into hundreds of thousands of tons per year. This is my humble self with some South Korea geophysicists. They came in almost a dozen to use their hand tool to check most of these blocks to know where the concentrates are. And we have it in our database where our drilling equipment will go and bring out these minerals in Nasarawa State. We've started visiting Kwara State, Pategi as well, where we have some blocks, and Oyo State. What we're trying to do is we want to meet up with Mr. President's vision of making minerals one of the core revenue to rival the hydrocarbon industry in Nigeria. So if, for example, they are targeting $1 trillion, the revenue from $1 trillion from corporate tax, royalties, and various income could go about 25–30%. We're looking at $250 million, $250 billion from $1 trillion when we're talking about long-time investment. So within now and 5 to 10 years' time, Nigeria will not only pay the debt, but will have surplus to use to develop the country. I believe if we all work together as a team, we'll be able to meet up with Mr. President's non-hydrocarbon agenda, which is $1 trillion. Vision to go into commercial mining, and we have a short-term vision of 3 years to go into short-term mining. Since we are privileged by the ministry and the MCO that they can give indigenous company a 5-year license to be able to mine these minerals, short-term vision can bring in income and revenue to the country to the tune of billions of dollars. And when it goes long-term, myself and other colleagues in the industry will be able to meet with Mr. President's agenda. Now, what we started was sowing. How did we sow? We invested in community by giving scholarship to their children, employing the indigenes. Most of our geologists are from the community. Then we invested in reconnaissance, and we invested also in desktop works so that we can have some technical reviews of most of these blocks. Then we now started planting. How did we plant? What did we plant? We started investing in achieving more of geographical and geological inferences from most of these blocks to allow the seismic review reflect during our exploration. Then nurturing, we have to partner with gifts in Canada. In America, I had to tour around this nation from the UK to Canada to America last year, spent like 4 or 5 months, did some courses to certify me and enable me to be a leader in this critical metal mining. Then what we are entering now is harvesting by the end of the year. We want to go into small-scale mining so that we can bring revenue to the country. We're still doing research and development, and we're trying to see if we can get new products from these blocks, because you can have a license after your reconnaissance and maybe it's one mineral. But when you do proper exploration exercises, you have other minerals that you can explore and mine. Then technological innovation. We have invested in a lot of software that will help us. We got a software from Australia. It's called X-Ray, and it tells you much more about the content of this mineral in ground. And if you have such mineral with your laptop and this device, you can have a brief estimate. You can tell your investor. Thank God I have some of my investment partners from the United States of America, and they see all these values. We work also through our pilot project on how to expand target areas. that is trying to see how we can use our small-scale licenses to pick some of these highly concentrated places in every block so that we'll be able to make some ROI between now and 3 years' time. Our works that we have done, if you look at the table, if you look at this table on top, talks about how we want to launch into the small-scale mining operation. We are targeting a minimum of 1,000 tons per block. So using our little equipment, we are going to work with, which is the bulldozer, mechanical shovel, and some hand tool equipment, and to convey it with our trucks. We'll be able to mine maybe about 8,000 tons in our 8 blocks in Nasarawa. While the construction is going on, while the exploration is going on, we'll be able to make revenue for our country, Nigeria, and put food on people's table. Then we have our detailed engineering construction project. We have packaged through our certified engineers. In this investment, we are proposing to put in $10 million for the small scale. Then the long-term project is going to be about $200 million. And to expect a revenue of hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I want to talk about global lithium before I go. In the world, lithium has been globalized to replace crude oil, to replace diesel. And China, at the present moment, they are leading in purchasing. Australia produces, Chile produces, and I want to tell you, if we work in harmony, togetherness, one love, will be able to take over this from the Western world. Our Africa will be placed in the global map for critical metals and for lithium by the grace of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Lawrence Ajayi, the CEO of Faithful Minerals Mining, talking to us all about the exploration of lithium ore. We do appreciate you. Because of time, we cannot take all of that, but I'm sure we can go on your website for those of us interested and read up more about all of this. Thank you so much. Now, we're going to have Mr. Samuel Onyinye Okoro, the Special Advisor on Solid Minerals, to His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State. Please, we'd like to beg, because of time, we'd like you to limit your presentation to, say, 2-3 minutes. That'll be fine, so we can wrap up on time. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good day, Your Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on already established protocols. The theme of AFNIS 2024 is Natural Resource for Economic Development. So what I'm going to speak about now is going to be brief, like you said, so I'm not going to take your time. How do we go about this? Because what we're actually working for now is a mining revolution. Because if everybody implements what we have discussed here so far, in the next 10 years or 20 years, we've been able to do a lot in the mining sector. Just like we discovered oil in Nigeria, if we don't manage the operations very well, responsibly, it's going to be a cost to us. The environmental management aspect of it, how do we do it? To ensure that if we come back, just like they said here earlier today, every mighty oak starts with a little seed, just like we planted in the summit. And it's expected to grow into a very large oak. It has to be responsibly managed in a responsible manner, so that at the end of the day, we'll be happy and not sad about this revolution. In Enugu so far, I will talk about investment opportunities in the mining sector in Enugu. What have we done so far? Because in Enugu, we don't talk about what we want to do. Investors have been hearing that for a long time. We'll talk about what we have done, what we are doing, and then we'll give you our projections. One of the problems facing the mining sector is lack of data. As a result of that, the state government in Enugu has invested hundreds of millions in exploration across the 17 local governments of Enugu State. We need to be able to have a bankable data for any investor coming to know what we have, the locations where they are, the quantity, and the analysis of the minerals to aid your investment planning. Because once we have that data, I know if we're able to achieve that, we must have de-risked that sector to a significant portion. And that's going to help other whoever is coming to invest to be able to do that. We reduce the risk, we share the risk with you and reduce the difficulties encountered in the sector. We've been on that for a couple of months, and by the end of next month, by God's grace, we'll be done, and we have that data, full reports for that activities. Secondly, we understand that issue of a community crisis, security issues are part of the problems investors have in the issue of mining investment. We have proposed to serve as a buffer between the investor and the communities to ensure that we have reasonable negotiations. It's a two-way thing because we've come to find out that most investors exploit the ignorance on the part of the communities in terms of negotiations. And to that end, we have actually had sensitization programs involving all stakeholders in the communities and the mining sector in Enugu. We intend to educate the communities to know what their rights are and their boundaries as well, so they can be able to offer reasonable negotiations with the mine operators and investors alike, which is going to be fair to them and fair to the investors. And we're always there with them to ensure that nobody's marginalized, not the investor and not the community. That way, we have been able to ensure investors' confidence in the state. Those are part of the packages we're offering. Enugu is open. We have areas of minerals in Enugu. We have coal, a huge reserve. We have construction stones, iron ore, limestone, lead zinc, kaolin, lots of them in the state. And we're open to investors who wants to invest in these sectors. Come to our doorstep, we'll welcome you. So what we have in Enugu today is I'm just giving a tip of the iceberg, because we are doing a lot to ease the stress of investors in the spirit of ease of doing business, so that if you come in, you will rest assured that you'll be welcomed and the investment will be safe, and we are guaranteeing the return of investment in the state. Because we understand that the reason why we're investing so much on exploration and having all the state data, because we know that it's cheaper for us to create jobs than to fight insecurity. We have a lot of area of youth who are unemployed. And once you have unemployed youth restiveness and insecurity will abound at that level. But if you invest these monies in getting all these data and getting investors in the state, we can be able to create employment and reduce insecurity. So that is what we are doing in the state. And we did participation of every captain of industry here who intends to invest in the solid mineral sector to come up. And we guarantee you that you have a very good negotiation with us. Enugu is welcome to business. Enugu is welcome to investors. Enugu is welcome to any other person who wants to help us develop the state. We keenly await to see you, and we keenly await to give you a rousing welcome and ensure that you partner with us in this developmental stage. So, I don't know how many minutes. Without taking much of your time, I will appreciate the organizers of this summit because this is the first stage for us to showcase. We have been left behind far too long in the area of mining, but we are back. Back for good. Back for sustainable development, sustainable mining, and responsible mining operation. Thank you very much.
We do sincerely apologize for the break in transmission. It was due to circumstances beyond our control. That's what we say on TV. Thank you. I hope you understand. So thank you very much. We do appreciate you for keeping to time in a good state. It's now time to have Taraba State Investment Promotion Agency, and this investment showcase will be done by Honorable Kabiru Jallo, who is the chairman of Taraba State Investment Promotion Agency. Please, a round of applause for him. And that's because he has gifts. He didn't come empty-handed. He has gifts for some special people here today. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, distinguished delegates to this important conference, summit. We welcome the opportunity to bring Taraba home to your doorsteps. In other words, to welcome you to Taraba State. Taraba State, like I said yesterday, is a land of endless possibilities. And here we are talking about natural resources. We now put in focus the most important component or factor of production, and that is land. Here we have a state that is 54,000 kilometers square in land mass, with a population of only 4 million people. What that means is that the bulk of the land in Taraba State is arable and ready to be cultivated. We're talking about agriculture, talking about mining, and talking about tourism. Taraba represents an endless possibilities in terms of investment opportunities, particularly in those areas I have mentioned earlier: agriculture, mining, and of course tourism. Most people have heard about the Obudu cattle range, which actually is in the Cross River State. But most people actually do not know that what you have as the Obudu cattle range in Cross River State is simply an extension of the stretch of the Mambela Plateau. And what you find in Cross River State, that is famously known as the Obudu cattle range, covers only 2,000 square kilometers of that landscape. What you have on the Taraba end of that border covers an area of 22,000 square kilometers of this same landscape that you see on the Obudu Mountains. That's if you discount the area that falls within the outside the border with the Cameroons. And of course, you talk about tourism. Taraba hosts the highest altitude in Nigeria. And you begin to wonder what happens that that is not a tourist destination. Now, at the peak of the Mambela Plateau, which stands at an altitude of, I think, 2,419 meters above sea level, breathtaking indeed, you might say. This is one area that might represent a lot of opportunities in terms of tourism, and not only that, it will grow as much as any crop that you can grow in any temperate region of the world. Of course, that is not to disconsider the fact that almost every solid minerals that you can think of, as you have seen from our stand at the exhibition ground, that is actually available in Taraba State in commercial quantities. Now, we spoke about the fact that we really have to do something to get it right. Now, the abundance of natural resources in Taraba State is not simply enough, but then we have to develop a roadmap to be able to fully invest ourselves into developing those resources to be able to attract the needful investment into those sectors. You might have to excuse me because I really cannot see from here. Oh, better. Taraba State offers a wide range of opportunities in terms of renewable energy. And we have talked extensively about the hydro plants opportunities that you can actually build in Taraba State. Now, we have actually identified over 20 locations in Taraba State that you could conveniently put up a hydro plant that could generate as high as 1,000 megawatts. At present, the Kashimbila Dam, which generates about 40 megawatts, is fully operational and fully in use. And not only that, like I said earlier, we have identified over 20 locations that you could conveniently put up a hydro plant, waiting for serious investors to come in and partner with us and look at areas we can collaborate to meet our energy requirements in there. And of course, beyond our need in Taraba State, I will also apply to the neighboring countries. Of course, the Cameroon comes to mind. Investment opportunity in agriculture. I have mentioned that Taraba covers an area of 54,000 square kilometers, and I did mention that the population of Taraba State is nearly 4 million people. And 70% of the population are actually into agriculture, but we really do not have the capacity to put up the land, the arable land, into use. What that means is that with the right investment into agriculture in Taraba State will conveniently feed the whole of Nigeria and of course beyond. We have a neighboring state that we used to joke that claimed to be the food basket of the nation, and we, on the light note, always say that you only own the basket, but the food is actually in Taraba, which is very true. You cannot grow food when you don't have the land. Taraba is where the land is, and the bulk of the land is actually, the large chunk of it is actually virgin, meaning there's room to clear for land clearing, which of course we all know is capital extensive. So in that regard, we are looking to bring in very serious investors that will be able to look at these areas and provide the needed partnership and collaboration to explore. In the areas of agro-processing, it may interest you to know, Your Excellencies, at the end of every harvest season, it's indeed shocking when you look at the quantity, the volume of massive evacuation of various crops that goes on in the Taraba State. You will be shocked. Every day you might think by next week you'll not see the same, but it goes on all the year round. And you start to wonder, where exactly is this food coming from? They're actually coming from the hinterlands. They're actually coming from the same peasant farmers that work and provide these quantities in little peasants' holdings, which indeed we do believe that if we're able to get serious investment into that area, we'll definitely do a lot. And of course, talking about crops, I also want to say that in Taraba, Taraba is perhaps the only state where you could grow tea. Not only tea, you could grow cocoa and of course coffee. Now you begin to wonder what happened to the tea production in Nigeria. I continue to argue that we're the only state that owned a tea company. And we continue to argue that if Starbucks is able to build a business that has gone worldwide around a cup of tea, then how come we're not able to build a business around a tea company, and in fact, the only tea company in Nigeria? Having said all that, of course, I'm looking from the perspective of investment promotion. That's what we do. It's been so long that perhaps we've been doing something that is not perhaps the right way. Of course, we have done a lot of investment drive over the years, but perhaps it's time we need to go back to the drawing board and get it right this time. And that is exactly what we are trying to do at the moment. So Taraba is actually open for business. The very essence of setting up the agency, which I actually chaired, which in fact is actually infant because it just was established a couple of months back, perhaps 2 or 3 months ago. So we're still battling with some teething issues to get it right. But the very essence is to be able to get, to create incentives, to create an enabling environment for investors to come in and do the right thing for Taraba State, of course, collaborating with us as partners. On that note, I want to say that looking at the subnational ease of doing business ranking report, which unfortunately, I must say, Taraba ranked number 36th in 2021, unfortunately. But the good news is that by 2023, the same report captured Taraba as number 12 among the subnationals. That is to say, that is a demonstration of the commitment, of our own commitment to be able to do what is right, to be able to attract the right investment. And of course, Taraba State has been in the news. Lately, of course, because of the suspension order on mining activities in Taraba State. Taraba, a few months back, almost a year ago, perhaps the first state after this administration came to power, to suspend all mining activity in the state. I want to place on record that we didn't do that to scare away investors. We didn't do that to frustrate genuine investors who genuinely hold mining license in Taraba State. We did that simply for 2 reasons. One, to be able to create security, because the issue of illegal mining has been a major source of concern and have created various kind of security issues for the state. This we have to do something about, and that's why we did it. Secondly, and most fundamentally, the very essence is to be able to sieve out, to sanitize the environment, to create an enabling one that will make investment in mining to prosper. Of course, to sieve out the grains from the shafts. That's exactly what we have been doing so far, trying to audit the situation. And of course, to tell you that Taraba is now open for genuine investors, particularly in the areas of mining. Because some bad news have gone into the press, but that is the wrong notion. The notion is not to scare away anybody. In fact, our arms are wide open to receive all investors, of course, serious ones. We really not looking for some cowboys to come and create security issues in our land. No, are we looking for lumberjacks from China to create issues and promote illegal mining on our territories? We are ready to welcome all serious investors that will collaborate with us, of course, to do the needful, and of course provide all kind of incentives for all, and we guarantee that Taraba is safe for all. Taraba is safe particularly to every serious investor that is ready to do genuine business in Taraba State. On this note, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I will continue to reach out to you at every opportunity to market Taraba State, and of course to welcome you to Taraba State. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Taraba State. We sincerely appreciate you. Of course, you have done justice to your job here, which is to market Taraba State, like you said. Of course, Taraba is dear to us and dear to AFNIS, and of course to everyone in this room. As I mentioned earlier, Taraba State has gifts, and we're going to be getting those gifts shortly, but it's going out to those who answered questions correctly just before we started this session. But to do the final vote of thanks and of course presentation of gifts, I'm sure we have opened our papers from the Lucky Dip, and we have won something. Those who have won cars, houses, and the rest, we can meet at the end of this event. But those who have won what is in front of us can come forward. Please put your hands together as we make welcome Engineer Obadiah Simon Nkam, the Director General, Mining Cadastre. He's representing the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Solid Minerals and Steel Development. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes forward. He's given us the closing remarks, and of course, he's going to make the presentations. So I'd like the ushers to please help us get what Taraba State Government, those that answered the two questions I asked earlier, I would like you to please step forward. And then if you have opened your sheet of paper and you have something written on it, I would like you to also please step forward with the paper as proof. Thank you very much. So, sir, you do us the honors of helping us present this. So, the two people who answered questions correctly, please step forward first. So you get this from Taraba State Government. And if you have your paper, please step forward. Itazama, would like Itazama representative to also come forward while the presentation is done. Please step forward, Itazama. We do not have time. All right, so we'll do this quickly. As fast as possible. All right, so first, it will be the two people who got questions correctly who are getting something from Taraba State Government. Please, sir, you do us the honors of presenting this refined palm oil produced by Taraba State Government. Taraba State's production oil, Taraba State oil, Taraba Oil Mill. Yes, this is refined. This is healthy, tasteless, nice, has all the minerals and vitamins that you need. And please, sir, help us hand it over to the two winners. Gentlemen.
Congratulations. The moment you take this, always remember AFNIS. First of all, AFNIS 2024. Remember the development of the solid minerals development, particularly Taraba State and Nigeria as a whole. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congrats.
So if you have your sheet of paper with anything written on it, please step forward quickly. I think there should be 2. 3. Itazama, what's happening? Itazama, can I see what's written on your paper? I know the handwriting. Zoom out to the world. Don't worry, we're going to zoom out together. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for this gentleman. Zuma 828 is here for you. God bless you. Please, could you step down? Could you step down? Thank you very much. Oh, yes, we got a winner here. Coal stove and a coal briquettes. Please come this way. Come this way. Let's separate the Zuma cares. A round of applause for him. Don't worry, not to worry. We're going to Zuma Rock together. Itazuma cares for you. We love you so much. You can meet the team of Itazuma. They will give you a hug. And IMEX cares. Congratulations. We care. Every one of us in this room. God bless you. Just one person won both? Oh no, that's not fair. You should have split it. All right, so, and I'm surprised. The men are winning. Like, men won palm oil. A man is winning the cooking stove. I mean, what's going on? Oh, one powers the other. All right, beautiful. So, Itazama, I'm giving it to Itazama. Please present, let him know what it is that he's getting. Please, a round of applause for Itazama. This is beautiful. It's a coal stove. I'm sure you want to say something to AFNIS, because you came here because of AFNIS. That's how Itazama. Oh, and he works with the minister. Can you imagine? So it means...
Thank you very much, AFNIS and the organizers of this event. Thank you very much.
Are you married?
Yes.
I just wanted to be sure so that this doesn't go to the house of, Anyways, thank you so much. So let's have the vote of thanks now.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to represent the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Mary Ogbe, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Solid Minerals, to actually read her closing remarks and vote of thanks. And when you have an esteemed gathering like this, very unique, it's always very difficult, but yet easy when you are delegated to read such a speech. A lot has happened, and when you have to give a vote of thanks to your president, you just feel the rightful person to actually do it is your boss, not just the permanent secretary, but the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development in person of Dr. Henry Alake Daly. But because he has directed and given his approval, anything you find me say here, and I'm happy he's here, is utmost with his approval, because I am not privileged, or I'm privileged to actually say a vote of thanks and closing remarks. My name is Engineer Obadiah Simon Nkom, the Director General of the Nigerian Mining Cadastre, and let me read the closing remarks by Dr. Mary Ogbe, who unavoidably has to attend to other official engagements as approved by the Honorable Minister. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we bring to the close the African Natural Resources and Energy Investment Summit, AFNIS 2024, I am filled with a profound sense of pride and gratitude for the remarkable journey we have undertaken together. over these past 3 days. This summit has been a testament to our shared commitment to leveraging Africa's natural resources for sustainable development. Firstly, I want to extend my deepest appreciation to all our distinguished guests and speakers and delegates who have traveled from far and wide to be part of this landmark event. Your presence underscores the shared vision we have for Africa's vision of a prosperity, sustainable, and resilient. The theme of this year's summit, Natural Resources for Economic Development, has guided our discussions, highlighting the critical role our natural resources play in driving economic growth, reducing poverty, and promoting sustainable development. We have engaged in enriching dialogues, exchanged innovative ideas, and forged new partnerships, all aimed at maximizing the benefits for our economies. Permit me to be able to now appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who was able to have an audience with our dignitaries and high government officials yesterday, and they had a session which is privy to our minister, and being able to now show the importance of the minerals sector's development. Looking at it carefully, you understand that irrespective of the fact that he was able to send, ably represented, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who was equally here, Senator Kashim, who was full, and he was able to now actually express himself to all the Renewed Hope agenda. I'm happy to note that even the African Mineral Strategy Group have adopted the Renewed Hope agenda. And it is not by accident that is happening in the capital of Nigeria, which is Abuja. And it is not surprising. It is not happening anywhere. There are other places outside this place. It's equally happening at the presidential villa. This is actually to underscore the importance of the mining sector in Nigeria. I think we need to give the president a round of applause. We want to equally appreciate, like I said, the Vice President for actually attending this conference and being able to declare it open, ably representing the President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. And we can't thank him enough for taking out of his busy schedule to come and grace this occasion. We want to sincerely thank the governors who have sent their delegations, representatives to this particular forum. But most importantly, we have African ministers who were actually physically around. I remember, if it is not your dialect, if you are not from that ethnic race, sometimes you can say A for R. But permit me to actually appreciate the ministers from the African continent, which despite their busy schedule, were able to actually come down. But first and foremost, we must thank our chief host, the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals, Dr. Oladele Henry Alake, for having to create this milestone. On a lighter note, anything that I say that is not correct, I will say it's the PAMSEC that said I should say it. But anything that I say correct, I own up to it. So, the Honorable Minister has been able to now show the zeal. He has been here from the beginning and to the end. Honorable Minister, sir, we are not just thanking you, we appreciate your vision. You can be assured that the milestones that you have achieved, history has recorded it. So, Honorable Minister, thank you very much. And for this one that you have set, somebody whispered and said, there is more work for you. The reward for hard work is what? I didn't say it. You said it, but I believe that that is what it's supposed to be. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for this particular single honor and privilege and milestone achieved that nobody can take it away from you. Thank you, sir. For the honorable ministers from African countries that have been around, they were able to start from the beginning. In fact, they came a couple of days. It's only the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals that will be able to now actually tell you the activities that actually happened even outside this hall with the Honorable Ministers. I can tell you that the African Minerals Strategy Group, we might have a closing remarks here, but they are going to continue to all other sessions before they leave. And as the chairman, I believe that it will bring the needed economic development to Nigeria and Africa as a whole. We have to specifically mention ministers from Sierra Leone, in person of the Honorable Minister, His Excellency, the Minister of Sierra Leone. We have the Minister of, the Minister of Sierra Leone. We have the Minister from Liberia. We have the Minister of South Sudan. We have the Minister of Chad. We have the Minister of Malawi. And if I'm missing anyone, I'll recap later. And because our Secretary General was careful to say we got his name pronounced 97%, I don't want him to leave at the end of the day that the percentage has gone down, because I know it will be very difficult to make 98. So I'll carefully refer to him as Musa, and His Excellency Musa, the Secretary General of the African Minerals Strategic Group, which is very, very strategic and playing the needed role for Africa. And particularly, I equally want to, gender-wise, to be able to now appreciate the Minister of Mining, the Republic of Malawi, in person of Her Excellency Monica Changanamono. Please remember I said, if I make a mistake, I'm reading what the PAMSEC said, and it's a recorded message. So permit me to actually go ahead, and equally because of time, because I know that we have a lot to do, to be able to now appreciate all the ambassadors and heads of the intergovernmental organizations that have been here. I want to say we appreciate you for actually honoring this particular event. At the same time, the Honorable Minister of Mines, of Solid Minerals, was not alone. He was able to bring in almost most of the key ministers to come for this event, one way or the other, either making presentations irrespective of the situations and then the exigency of official activities. And to all the other honorable ministers that have actually attended and had representation, we want to sincerely appreciate you, and then we look forward to being able to bring in the meaningful development, particularly for the sector. For the executive governors, as I earlier said, we want to appreciate you and we want to thank you. Please take back the goodwill message and ensure at the end of the day, whether it is Nigeria is made up of states. And remember that there is no Nigeria without Taraba State. There's no Nigeria without Enugu State. So whatever the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals is doing in the center is to benefit all the states. So we must be seen as serving Nigeria as a whole. So for the governors, we want to appreciate you sincerely for your support and your attendance, and you've been able to now open up investment opportunities for your states, which will bring in the needed economic development for the country as a whole. This event wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have sponsors. We need to specifically mention and appreciate our gold sponsors in Segilola Gold, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, FG Gold, and coming down to our silver members, we have Faithful Minerals. Please continue to be faithful. We have Taraba State, we have Nasarawa, and then we also have some other sponsors, our bronze sponsors, in company of ASBA and Wisdom International, Steron Minerals, Enugu State, Matrix, Excalibur, Ideal Mining, let me be on the safe side, and many others, or a few others. We equally want to appreciate our speakers, our delegates, the security. One thing that is very key, that we talk about lawyers that are learned. I can tell you that when you have a lawyer, he looks at the plaintiff and the defendant, he gets the facts to see how he defeats the other. But one of the secrets of journalism, at least I'm a student, 1 year student under my able Honorable Minister. This one is, I'm reading Mary Ogbe's speech. We are learning a lot from him, because for a journalist, you need to be able to now go and know every aspect of the sector, and that is exactly what our minister is doing. And in every place, sometimes you need to be able to sing your own song. Don't allow, nobody will come and sing your song for you. And that is why we have in AFNIS 2024, we have the media supporters, the companies CJID, Premium Times, African Leadership, News Direct, and many other companies. At the same time, we equally want to acknowledge and appreciate other ministries and other agencies that have been part and parcel of this successful milestone event. Having said that, it is very, very important to be able to conclude this summit, as we conclude this summit, it is important to reflect on the takeaways and the path forward. Several critical conclusions have emerged from the summit, which includes, among others, because it's very, very key, we have to walk the talk. First key issue of the takeaways is balancing development and environmental stewardship. The second is developing a vibrant gas industry. Third is, and that is why you find the Content Development Board being part of us, is local content development in the extractive industry. Another high point is harnessing natural resources for human development. Community development is another key issue, tapping into the global green economy and developing first-class mining projects. Furthermore, discussions were made and digested in detail, financing the transition in the African context. We are not just looking at mining, we had agriculture's role in sustainable development, plugging the power gaps, exploring opportunities and innovations in mining, and again, energy infrastructure financing, and then private partnership, PPPs, in resource development. And the most important thing, again, last but not the least, is economic benefits of critical minerals and technology. Ladies and gentlemen, as we leave this summit, let us carry forward the momentum and enthusiasm we have generated here. The real work begins now. It is incumbent upon us to translate our discussions into concrete actions and policies that will drive sustainable development and economic transformation. I urge all stakeholders, African leaders, MDAs, private sector leaders, civil societies, and international partners to collaborate and commit to the implementation of the strategies and recommendations discussed during this summit. Together, we can create a brighter future for Africa, one where our natural resources are utilized to their fullest potential and where every African can enjoy the benefits of sustainable development. As it was launched, it said, Africans for Africa. We are all Africans, and we need to be able to develop Africa. As we reflect on the discussions and outcomes of AFNIS 2024, it is clear that we stand at the threshold of a new era for Africa, an era where our natural resources are not only a source of wealth, but also a catalyst for sustainable development and social progress. We have the opportunity to redefine the narrative around natural resources management and set a course that prioritizes the well-being of our people and the health of our planet. Let us seize this moment with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The road ahead will not be without challenges, but the spirit of collaboration and innovation that we have witnessed here gives us great confidence in our ability to overcome them. Together, we can build a future where our natural resources are a blessing for us, driving inclusive growth and shared prosperity. In closing, let us remember the words of Nelson Mandela, who once said, it always seems impossible until it is done. The journey towards sustainable development and economic prosperity may seem doubting, but with our collective efforts, it is not only possible, but inevitable. The dialogue and partnership forged ahead at AFNIS 2024 are the foundation upon which we will build a brighter future for Africa, Africans for Africa. To all the delegates, to all the security, to all the people at the backstage of this particular event, we thank you all for your invaluable contributions, your insights, and your commitments. And to our partners once again, please, this time around, this is just the beginning of a milestone set. We hope to be able to now achieve and do more. On behalf of the Permanent Secretary, who I represent, ably supported and ensured and covered by my minister seated here, and the entire delegates, I want to say thank you for your patience and your unwavering support and collaborations. And as we depart, let us carry the spirit of AFNIS with us. I enjoin all to continue to engage, innovate, proactively work together across sectors and borders to realize the full potentials of our natural resources. Let's ensure that the legacy of this summit is one of the tangible progress and enduring impact. Once again, on behalf of the Honorable Minister and the entire ministry, and to all our participating foreign ministers, and everybody that has been part of it, we want to say thank you. One thing, our Secretary General, if you saw his performance, they say I should off the mic. You saw his performance, there's a secret. He didn't come alone. Don't ask me who he came with. He came with his lifeline. That is why the Secretary General, wherever you are, we want to appreciate you, Secretary General of African Mineral Strategy Group. The minister had already described him as a very hard-working person. And together with the chairman, they are going to move Africans for Africa. Thank you most sincerely, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Engineer Obadiah Simon Nkam, the Director General of Mining Cadastre. We do sincerely appreciate you.
We normally have this thing in functions like this. You have an MC. Everybody is thanking everybody. She doesn't know where to be put. Her name is Patience John. And I'm sure we can give a round of applause to ourselves and to her for doing a wonderful moderation and sharing this wonderful occasion. Patience, you have done well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. We do sincerely appreciate you. It's about time to go. We're going to do something quickly. Everything has been done. We're going to say AFNIS 2024, and we're going to say Africans for Africa, right? And when I say Africans for Africa, you say AFNIS 2024. Is that beautiful? I'm sure the Secretary General will like that. All right. May we please rise as we do that quickly. AFNIS 2024. That's not loud enough. We could bring down the roof. Africans for Africa. AFNIS 2024. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. Thank you so much. And to signal the close of this event, we're going to take the national anthem. And just to let you know that the organizers have said, come July next year, we'll be having AFNIS 2025. Are we excited? I thought you would say AFNIS 2025. Can we do that? AFNIS 2025. I will be there. Doesn't look like you'll be there. Let's do that. AFNIS 2025. AFNIS 2025. I will be there. Oh no. I thought you would say AFNIS 2025. One more time. AFNIS 2025. I will be there. Thank you very much. May we have the national anthem as we close tonight. Have a safe trip back to your destinations. We love you, and thank you to the organizers and everyone who made this a success. God bless you. Have a good night.